Hello, and welcome to Working in Articulate Storyline. Today we are going to be looking at creating custom hotspots rather than working with Articulate's default hotspot function. Now, my background is in graphic design, so I really like creating my own custom bespoke icons, assets, and just overall design layout for Articulate Storyline. I think that is what gives your work sort of a cutting edge, a more unique, bespoke sort of look for your clients. And it can look like it's more of an app than it is an Articulate Storyline e learning. So, this is one way that you can use pre existing elements that you've created elsewhere, or even within Storyline if you want to use that and feel more comfortable, and create custom triggers, layers, assets, functions like animations and fly-ins just so it looks a little bit more dynamic and unique. So I've created this design in Illustrator. So this I've just placed in a PNG. It says the hotspot background. And then I have just a shape up here with some text in it. I have an icon here for information. I also have some text here. And then I have created each of these custom hotspots. Now, these hotspots has states on them. So I have the normal state, the hover state, and then the visited state. So once each hotspot has been activated, the tick will appear so the learner will know, oh, I've already visited that. So you can do that in lots of different ways. That's just how I have chosen to design it in this instance. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove the current existing hotspots that I have created. So each of these stars that are next to these elements represent an animation or a transition for an element. So if I click on the hotspots, I have a grow animation. So that is an entry animation. I'd like it to grow as it comes in. For this shape up the top, I have a fly in. The text, I don't just want to appear, I want it to fade in so it's a little bit more softer. I also have this text fading in. Another thing I've done with the grow, I have brought them in at different points in the timeline so they're not all coming in at once, they're coming in at different stages. So let's have a look at what this looks like in the preview. So preview up the top and then we'll go this slide. I've removed the player on this just so we can focus on the actual animation, the design, the layout of the graphic for the hotspot. So that is visually how it's going to look. If I hover over each of my hotspots, you can see that it is activating the hover state. Now I have already activated the first hotspot, so I'm going to click on that, and then you can see that it has the pop-up of text. I have not activated either of these, but you can see that it actually has the visited state applied to it. So I haven't done that yet, so we're going to play with that next. So I'll just go out of the preview mode, and you can see what I've done. So over here to the left, I have the hotspot, which is hotspot 1. Really important to name your layers. It makes it a lot easier if you've then named your timeline layers and your slide layers, so they match up. It's a lot easier if you're doing lots of different hotspots and triggers. So hotspot 1, and then over here I have hotspot 1 for the first layer. So they match, that's beautiful. I'll go back here now. So I've actually set up the first trigger. So this trigger is show layer, hotspot 1. You can see my other hotspots in there. When the user clicks, so you can have it when they hover over it. Very good for accessibility if it's clicking. And then hotspot 1. So I'm going to manually show you how I would do the second one. So go up here to create a new trigger, show layer, hotspot 2. When the user clicks, hotspot 2. Now, if you don't want to do that manually every time, because we have created a pre-existing trigger, we can copy paste them. So I'm going to select this one, I'm going to go copy paste. Now all I have to do is change these numbers and names. Paste again, I just want hotspot 4 to go to hotspot 4. Excellent. So if I go into each of my layers now, how I was able to get this hotspot reappear here is that I have copied it and pasted it onto this layer because I want it to appear like it's in front again. Otherwise, this shape will go over the top of the hotspot that is on the base layer. So I've copied and pasted this one. However, it has no triggers. You can see there's no triggers. Um, it still has the states. So it still is a clickable button. So ideally, you would actually go in here and you would remove each of these states because we don't really want the learner to be clicking on that button. It won't do anything, it won't go anywhere, but you really just want it to be a graphic on its own. So you could go in and do that to each of these other layers as well. So now let's see if it's all working. We have our hotspots all set up, and let's go preview slide. Here we go. The hovers are all working, and here we go. So hotspot 1 matches, hotspot 2, hotspot 3, and hotspot 4. You can see that these all have the ticks applied to them now. You can go to the next level and put in triggers so you can see how these all still allow me to go back and click over it. Now it really depends on what you want as a designer or as an instructional designer. If you want the learner to not be able to go back and check them again, you can then disable the button so they cannot go back and recheck it. That's a little bit more complex triggering, but definitely something that you can do. So little things I could match these up so they're more neater and match perfectly. That's where I'll go through and do my QA and my testing. But functionality wise, these are all working exactly how I want. And then I can go on to the next slide. So what I've done is I've created another slide here that's called Your Turn. I'm going to make this storyline available for you to download so you can have a play with these triggers, experiment, put in your own assets if you like to see if it looks visually how you would like it to look. But you can get the general overview, functionality, trigger setup in this so you can have a practice and a play of creating your own bespoke hotspot interaction in Storyline. I hope you found this really useful. If there's any other tutorials that you want to learn in Storyline and creating everything from scratch, please let me know and I'll be determined to create that for you. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day.